Today, we are diving into the electrifying, highly anticipated, and, let's be honest, kinda controversial return of an absolute automobile legend, the Lexus LFA. If you follow the car world, you know that resurrecting a halo car is just a monumental task on its own. But pulling it off in the age of electrification, well, that brings a whole new set of crazy challenges. So we've been combing through the latest Toyota press releases and digging into hands-on analyses from auto journalists to figure out exactly what this wild new concept is all about. All right, let's kick things off with the million-dollar question that literally every car enthusiast is agonizing over right now. Look, when you hear Lexus LFA, you aren't picturing the badge, right? You're hearing that sound. The original car was entirely defined by that naturally aspirated masterpiece of an engine. So how on earth do you take a legacy built on pure, screaming mechanical combustion and translate it into a silent, battery-electric future? Honestly, what even is a supercar when you rip out its beating heart?
Section 1. The Shadow of a Legend.
To really grasp the immense pressure on this new concept, we've got to look at the crazy tension we're dealing with here. On one side, you have the original LFA. We're talking about a naturally aspirated V10 revving to a totally mind-bending 9,500 RPM. The exhaust was literally tuned by Yamaha's musical instrument division. It was raw, it was screaming, it was peak mechanical soul. And then, on the exact opposite side, you have the new LFA Concept. It's a battery electric vehicle. It relies on digital screens, battery cells, and software, even simulated shifting. It is literally the ultimate clash between old-school mechanical soul and this new digital reality. But, before we get completely lost in our own romanticized memories, we do have to take off the nostalgia goggles for a second. The original car actually had some flaws. Journalists back in the day called it a bit porky, as in heavy compared to its rivals. And its single-clutch automated manual gearbox, it was notoriously clunky and lagged miles behind the dual clutches of the time. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because electrification, with its massive instant torque and advanced torque vectoring, could actually be the silver bullet that solves those exact problems. Moving on to Section 2. Enter the LFA Concept. Just looking at the sheer footprint of this thing, the huge takeaway here is that this new concept is significantly larger. We're talking an imposing 185.6 inches long and over 80 inches wide. Basically, that means it's a full 10 inches longer and 6 inches wider than the old model. Now, obviously, a lot of that bulk is just to fit modern EV batteries, but it also means this car is going to have a much wider, lower, and just absolutely aggressive stance on the road. But here's the thing. Lexus isn't just trashing the past to build some giant, fast EV. In their press release, they actually anchor this whole vehicle in a concept called Toyota's Shiken Sengu. It's this really beautiful cultural philosophy they borrowed from the Shinto ritual of periodically rebuilding shrines. For Toyota and Lexus, they use it as a metaphor for preserving and passing down vital, old-school car-making skills from the veteran engineers straight to the younger generation. So, they aren't erasing the original LFA at all. They're essentially using this new concept to evolve that legendary craftsmanship right into the electric era. And to prove they aren't just blowing marketing smoke, the new LFA actually shares its core development pillars and a full-on aluminum body frame with Toyota's highly anticipated GR-GT and GT3 racing programs. They're hyper-focused on 3 exact pillars: a super low center of gravity, low weight paired with rock-solid structural rigidity, and a relentless pursuit of aerodynamic performance. By literally sharing DNA with race cars, Lexus is promising us that this EV isn't just going to be some heavy, straight-line missile. It's being engineered to handle and communicate exactly like a purist sports car. Which brings us to Section 3, Engineering a Virtual Stick Shift. Okay, so how exactly does Lexus plan to inject mechanical joy back into a single-speed EV? Well, eagle-eyed auto journalists have spotted 3 dead giveaways that Lexus is developing a fully simulated manual gearbox for this thing. First off, there are actual physical plus and minus paddle shifters right behind the steering wheel. Second, if you look at the digital dashboard rendering, it clearly displays an M for manual mode right alongside a fake gear indicator showing it in 3rd gear. And the ultimate smoking gun, there is a stubby little physical switch to the left of the wheel that literally says manual BEV.
I mean, you can't get more direct than that.
So how's that actually going to work? Well, it doesn't just pipe fake engine noises through the speakers like a video game. The software actually actively manages the electric motors to simulate ripping through the gears of a conventional car. It literally interrupts and surges the electric power delivery to perfectly mimic the torque curve and that physical head-snapping jolt you get when a combustion engine shifts gears. We've actually seen similar systems recently in cars like the Hyundai Ioniq 5N, and they've gotten huge acclaim. It just goes to show that with the right software, you can absolutely trick the human brain into feeling real mechanical engagement in an EV.
Section 4. Discovering total driver immersion.
So Lexus has this core design philosophy for the cabin, and they call it Discover Immersion. They define it as the pursuit of fusing aerodynamic performance with sculptural beauty, creating a cockpit refined down to the absolute minutest details to draw the driver deeply into the world of driving. Think of it like this minimalist, hyper-focused worldview. They basically want every single functional part harmonized so seamlessly that the car stops feeling like a machine and starts feeling like an organic extension of your own consciousness. So, what does this Discover Immersion actually look like when you sit in the car? Well, to keep your eyes totally glued to the road and your hands locked in place, Lexus made some pretty bold choices here. They've gone with a yoke-style steering wheel paired with a variable steer-by-wire system. That means you never have to awkwardly re-grip the wheel hand over hand, even in really tight corners. On top of that, they just completely ditched the giant, distracting center infotainment screen that is basically everywhere in modern cars. Instead, all your crucial driving data is strictly prioritized and put on a pair of much smaller screens right next to the driver. It is unapologetically all about the driver.
And finally, Section 5. Can tech replace the V10?
The burden of the LFA's legendary status gets even heavier when you zoom out and look at the wider Toyota family. Get this. The new LFA's sister car, the Toyota GR-GT, which was developed right alongside it on the exact same aluminum frame, will actually feature a massive fire-breathing, mild hybrid twin-turbo V8 pushing nearly 700 horsepower. Meanwhile, the Lexus LFA is going purely electric. Lexus is actively choosing the harder path here, right? They're intentionally handicapping themselves with the weight and the silence of EV batteries just to prove that their tech and their software can deliver a driving experience that's every bit as compelling as a roaring V8. Which leaves us with this final massive question. As we accelerate headfirst into a fully electrified future, we really have to ask ourselves, will a brilliantly faked manual transmission, incredible steer-by-wire agility, and this hyper-focused digital immersion be enough to capture our hearts the way a screaming 9,500 RPM V10 used to? Basically, can a software update ever truly replicate mechanical soul? It is a colossal gamble for Lexus, but honestly, if they pull this off, they might just write the ultimate blueprint for the electric supercar of the future. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep a close eye on how this wild concept evolves,